So basically, when you first bought the property, this was part of the hillside here, where you're sitting. It sloped down from here, and this is built up because of the dirt taken from.
Yeah, well, yeah, it seemed like it was, and Bob was straight down, and this part of it was straight down, and so when we did all this, we filled the dirt over in there, and then I put a couple of big poles across the trees there and filled it up in there, and I didn't think it would hold. We did plant some things along there that did go down, and but yeah, it was straight down. The kids would get here and roll all the way down the beach, and then when they did graded Bob's, it was just right where it's sitting. The house part was just straight down. That's why I thought, God, nobody'd build up there. But when Mrs. Mick says, it's going to kill that tree because you can't put dirt up against it like that. Well, I haven't killed it yet, but
Why would that kill the
I
tree?
don't understand either. I said, out in the woods, they're all filled up to each other.
Because she proved her wrong.
Yeah, I got a picture. I'll have to of us just of that part, and he's got the forms in there. I'm standing there. I guess we had one of the picnic tables on the ground in between the floorboard, and so we washed dishes at one end and ate at the other, and then we moved it out here. I started digging this out when he was working, and hauled it up there and dumped it down the. That was just straight down from there. There was no slope at all.
Hmm.
We planted those trees there, thinking the roots would hold it in. It's just like all that hedge stuff that's coming up. Aries, the people across from Phyllis, that was all their hedge. They pulled that out, and so we brought a bunch of it up and tried to. We had the fence around, and we tried to put. I don't know. And then the dirt just kept falling away, and then Dad would take and get up every day and take 2 or 3 buckets of dirt up and fill it in holes on the road that had gotten washed from rains and stuff. But that's why I just can't understand, because Barry, the only thing Barry ever had to do with him, and he didn't have to, was when they went over to that big lumber yard over on Market Street, Ray Beal's Lumber, and they let the firemen have all the wood free. They had to take the nails out. I mean, which you didn't have to take the nails out, but you just stack it up. And that's the only thing, because, gee, he was just a little guy. By the time he got up to help, most of it was built. The bathroom and bedrooms were the last things on that we added on. But any really physical work.
I remember watching Dad all the time with the pickaxe out along the cabin,
Yeah.
picking and picking and picking, and then
Well,
buckets and.
solid clay. Hey, you shaved your beard off.
You didn't notice? I did that before. I did that before Wolf Lodge.
You're
I was
kidding.
thinking you'd notice at some point, and never
Well,
did.
you had it when Gina came,
I had that weekend, but then
because she said she hadn't seen you.
yeah, the day morning of Wolf Lodge, I cut it off.
Yeah, well, I just looked at you and thought, what's different? Yeah, he just worked, always feeling doing something, because he'd have loved to just move up here and get rid of the house in town. In fact, you said, well, if I could have a dog, I'd live up there and go to school. The kids would come down and catch the bus.
I remember him saying that, or me saying that.
And that tree right there in front of the He's only about as tall as that one right there is right now, the big one. And he said he's glad the kids didn't grow like that tree did.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It was just, it was about as tall as the cabin at the time we were going to spend Christmas up there. He bought lights and everything to see. That's where we got those big lights. We never put them up at home. And then we couldn't get in here because that blue Buick was so low. Mrs. Miller down at the Narrows there, she came up and she had a little Volkswagen. Said if you can get some snow tires, I mean some chains on there, you can get down easy. But the chains wouldn't fit the big tires that we had or something. So, so we turned around, turkey and all, went home.
I remember coming up and you'd always have something like chili or something on the stove, and then I remember going out on the ice.
I'd get sick and I'd see the fish. I'd get on my hands and knees and crawl.
Because ice isn't normally clear like that. Normally it's cloudy or...
It was, but see, who used to come up with this? Always had somebody seem like come up because Dad would get out there and take a bunch of the newer snow off. But kids were going clear across to the skating clear across to the resorts over there. Scared the dickens out of me because this is natural springs, and I didn't think they ever would freeze solid enough to not be dangerous.
Well, you know, like those shows on TV, Ice Road Truckers, the ice is over the actual... That's how they get to these small communities during the winter, because during the summer there's no roads to these communities, so they have to get everything on the winter. And these trucks, you know, they've actually build the roads, thicken them up right over the rivers and waters, and the big trucks haul stuff, and and yet there's water underneath them, you know. Just got to be thick enough to hold the weight.
You was the one that buried the deer that was on our property, wasn't it? It was dead deer. Right down there. Well,
no.
One of them got frozen in the water, and it was his legs got down and I guess couldn't get out. But I don't know if someone got it. But then we had a dead deer right just above the pump house, and it was really rotting. I thought it was you that buried it because it's buried just on the bottom of the peninsula there, and so we knew we couldn't pull it apart to get it up on the road for the garbage to pick up. There's a truck used to, because it would fall all apart, you know. It was so rotten. But
So they actually buried it in the...
Yeah, dug it up and buried it in the dirt. Well, then Jerry's dog is buried close to it.
Right.
Close to the line there. Yeah, every step had doo-doo on it from deers. So we knew they were around. What time did he go to bed last night?
Probably not too long after I came in.
I don't remember when you came in either, I guess.
It was maybe 45 minutes after you did, I suppose.
Because, boy, I just died. I was so tired. I was so mad that those guys came, but I hated to not get it done because I had all this time to get those shrubs done.
Oh.
And I said, it was 2:45, and I said, if you can get it done by 5 o'clock, but if you can't, forget it. He just kept talking to me. I wasn't going. I said, no, you have to come next week. I said, I'll be here all next week. Well, he said, I got 2 guys here, and they'll look like a couple of them looked like they were Mexican, but they were not really dark, but they were talked English. Then there was one other guy, an older guy, but the guy that came and he said, I did it once before for you. And so I remember way back, and there was a gym. I had a envelope up there by those glass shelves that did work too. And so I was about to call him, but I didn't dare put these out. I said, if you just do the fronts, forget the back, you know. Because I said, you won't have the time to do it. But I didn't know they was going to use chainsaws. But it
I
looks
never
about the
heard.
same
I've
as
never
when,
heard of them using chainsaws.
and they just, well, they went all like this, and then they tied and everything. But they looked the same as if they did it by
Mm-hmm.
hand.
Yep.
And they were so, the tops were so, or they'd gotten so big, and they cut a lot of that off, and then tapered it and everything. But Jack worked and worked and worked. It had taken him hours to do that. So I said, and I got some in the back. If you want to come next week, he said, can I see him? You know. So I said, well, I had to get the key. I was trying to get stuff loaded, and I get the washing that I'd done and put them in bags and stuff. And so I took him out there, and he said, well, that just won't take no time at all. He said, so he said, we can get that done too. So two guys worked in front, and one went in the back and started. They had their own great big tall ladders, a lot taller than the house. And
Hmm.
I was surprised when I went out to get some garbage, and they had that one by the dining room done already. So I thought, well, gosh, if I didn't, they maybe I'd come back and the poor front was just driving me crazy anyhow. Back didn't bother me quite so much, but